My next patron question is from Benjamin, who wants to know about the possibility of a popular singer getting a biopic. Can a Michael Jackson biopic do him justice? This is a fitting question, seeing as there seems to be a current trend of making musician biopics. A lot of this has been fueled by the success of Bohemian Rhapsody, although Rocket Man was already in post-production by the time that hit screens. But there have been recent announcements of a Celine Dion biopic and a David Bowie biopic, although the producers don't have the rights to Bowie's songs, so that should be interesting. As for Michael Jackson, if Benjamin had asked me this months earlier, I would have said he would definitely be getting one. However, a documentary recently aired on HBO that brought Jackson back into the news, and none of it for good reasons. Now, I have not seen the documentary, so I don't know what exactly is revealed in it, and thus don't have an opinion on it. Nonetheless, it's probably pumped the brakes on any biopic that might have been in the development stages. But, hypothetically, if the studio were to make a Michael Jackson biopic, what's an approach they could take? With any biopic, there's always a question of how much of a person's life they should portray. Should it go from their childhood to their death, or just focus on a pivotal moment in their life? I've often preferred the latter approach, as it lessens the likelihood of the film turning into a Wikipedia article or a series of cliches. For Michael Jackson, what would be a key time in his career? I would say the 80s was probably when he was at the peak of his popularity, as that's when he achieved his most recognizable image, fueled by successful music videos like Thriller, Beat It, Bad, and the Captain EO 3D attraction for the Disney theme parks. One thing the filmmakers could do is contrast his private life with his public persona, or if they're really bold, show him in the late 90s and 2000s during his lowest period, and then jump back and forth between that era and his 80s success. Some filmmakers may also decide to show him in his child singer days as part of the Jackson 5, and show how his father's abuse probably had a psychological effect on him later in life. The other tricky part of making a Michael Jackson biopic would be who should play him. You would need somebody who could dance like him and speak like him, although I don't think looking like the subject is necessarily a requirement for a biopic. Paul Dini and John Cusack did not look that much like Brian Wilson when they played the Beach Boys singer-songwriter in Love and Mercy, but I still bought them in the role. With Michael Jackson, I actually have trouble thinking of someone who could believably portray him. The other part of it is that Jackson's skin famously started to whiten and his facial features changed in the 80s, and you would need good makeup to convincingly show this transformation. Who would be a good director to make the movie? I thought F. Gary Gray brought the right amount of energy, drama, and solid character development to his NWA biopic Straight Outta Compton, but he may not want to do another musician biopic so soon. Ryan Coogler is also a director who could bring a strong visual dynamic to such a project, as could Peter Ramsey. Of course, one likely roadblock for a Michael Jackson biopic would be his family and his state. They are incredibly protective of his image, especially after he passed away, and any filmmaker that would attempt to go into the deeper and darker issues of his life, as well as many of the controversies, might run into problems with the Jackson family. You kind of have to go into his character flaws, and a sanitized portrayal of Michael Jackson would not fly with many people. You cannot just rely on a bunch of choreographed musical numbers to guide the audience through. The story in between the song sequences have to be interesting. Not necessarily warts and all, although that's supposedly the direction Elton John has allowed Rocket Man to go in. But even Michael Jackson's biggest fans would admit he was a deeply troubled person. However, one interesting project on the horizon is a stop-motion animated film about his pet chimp Bubbles. Taika Waititi will direct the movie, which will stream on Netflix once it's finished. With Waititi involved, it's sure to be a unique and interesting take on Michael Jackson's life. Otherwise, I don't think we'll be seeing a traditional biopic about him anytime soon. But to any filmmaker who decides to take a crack at it, all I'll say is, good luck. Thank you for your question, Benjamin.